Been in a coffee shop lately and ordered a latte? You formed a contract. Have you been out to eat, ordered from the menu? They expect you to pay for the food that they bring you, don't they? You have formed a contract. Have you ordered from Amazon or DoorDash? Paid for your food or your goods with Amazon? You formed a contract. Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry. I'm a practicing attorney in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm also a content creator and online entrepreneur. I want to talk with you today about what a contract is and the 5 elements of every contract. Okay, what is a contract? A contract's merely a promise. Now, not all promises form contracts. For example, Mary tells her sister, "I promise you it's not going to rain. You don't need to take your umbrella." Mary's sister believes her, doesn't take her umbrella, and it rains. Can she seek damages from Mary for making that promise? No. John asks Lucy to go to the prom. Promises her that he'll take her to the prom and they'll have a great time and they'll go out to eat and all these things, and then changes his mind. Was that a contract? No. A contract is a promise that's legally enforceable. Now think about this. I come up to you and say, "Look, I saw the ad that you had in the newspaper to sell your car. I'll give you $2,500 for your car." You say yes. We've entered into a contract. That contract is legally enforceable. Now, what does legally enforceable mean? That means if some party to the contract, one side or the other, doesn't live up to the bargain, then a court can enforce the terms of the contract. The contract itself does not have to be written except in certain circumstances. For instance, contracts for the sale of real estate are required to be in writing. There's a thing called the statute of frauds that we will talk about in a subsequent video that requires certain contracts to be reduced to writing. But generally speaking, a written contract is preferred over, like in the restaurant, an implied contract or a handshake deal. The elements of a contract are pretty straightforward. First of all, there must be an offer. I offer to sell you something for a certain price, or I offer to perform services for you, as I do in my law practice, for so much per hour, or I offer to do carpentry work on a project in your home for a certain price. That's the offer. But an offer is no good without acceptance. So acceptance can be any number of things. For example, I offer to, had this happen the other day actually, I offered to provide services for this young person at $400 per hour. And he said, can you work with me on the rate? I'm like, no, that's not negotiable. That's my rate. But you see, offers and acceptance can be turned on their head. So if you offer to sell me something for X number of dollars, and I counter and say, I want to buy it, but I'm only going to give you Y number of dollars, then my acceptance has now become a counter offer, and you must either accept or counter the offer. But those 2 elements have to be present in order for a contract to be formed: offer and acceptance. The third important element for a contract is consideration. Each party to the contract provides something of value. The individual who wanted my legal services, I would provide legal services and they would pay a fee. We each would provide value. It doesn't always have to be money. It could be in-kind types of services. There are all kinds of barter contracts that people enter into. For example, I might provide certain services for someone to provide me with certain services. Does that make sense? So contracts must have offer, acceptance, and consideration. Now, the fourth element is one that a lot of folks don't think about, but parties to a contract must have the capacity to contract, legal capacity. Well, you're thinking, okay, well, they must be of age. Yeah, that's one element of capacity. They have to be of legal age in order to enter into a contract. But they also must have other capacity. They must have mental capacity to understand the terms of the contract and what they're agreeing to do. A lot of times folks have entered into contracts, and there's all kinds of cases in the books about people who didn't have the mental capacity to understand the contract they were entering. Here's another one. They can't be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. If they are, then they don't have arguably the capacity to understand the promises that they're making. So the four elements so far: offer, acceptance, consideration, and capacity. The fifth and final element of every contract is that it must be legal. It must not be a contract to do something that's illegal. Now you're thinking, well, what about in the movies when they put a hit out on somebody, put a contract on somebody? That's not legally enforceable, so it's not a contract because it's not a legal purpose. The contract also cannot be against public policy. So to sum up, every contract has these common elements: offer, acceptance, consideration, capacity between the parties to contract, and must be for a lawful purpose, not against public policy. So think about all the contracts that you enter into in the course of your day that you really didn't maybe think about as a contract. The next time we're going to talk about different types of contracts that you might enter into in the course of your entrepreneurial journey. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please give us a like and hit that bell and subscribe to our channel and get notice when we drop new videos.